Hey guys, it's Monica at Academic Phoenix Plus, and we have done some really cool stuff. We have created human skin using Substance Painter. We have created the color zones. We have created blue veins. We have all of these sun damage and so much more. So the next part is I'm kind of creeped out by the eyes, so I'm going to start focusing on the eyes next. So to change to the eyes, let's go ahead and click on the eye shader, which is what it looks like right now. And if I paint on it, you can see that now I made her really creepy. There's several ways we can create eyes. One of them is going to be to just use projection. So I've already downloaded an eye texture and I'm going to be using projection. So to do projection up here on the left, you're going to click on this little guy and it's going to ask you like, what are you trying to project? Well, that's a good question. Scroll down. And we need to look is at color, height, rough, metal, and normal. So right now, the only thing I really want is to create color. Over here to the left in this shelf, we're going to click on this little button, and we're going to be looking for adding a resource. And this resource is going to be where we find our texture, which I found right here. And we have to identify it. So click on undefined, and I'm going to say texture. And I'm going to go ahead and click it on my project PBR and click import. So it should automatically find your eye texture and select it. So if I grab it and drag it to my base color, it's going to pop up here. So this is my projection. Now, if I wanted to and start painting, I can actually just make her look like an alien, which is cool if that's what I was going for, but I'm not. So I'm going to go ahead and if you hold down S, you can see that I have a stencil. So this is considered a stencil. Some other apps call it projections, but the stencil is what I'm going to be using. Click on S, and then I can middle mouse and drag it to place it. Then I can scale it. Now, don't forget that you can also zoom in, and this is probably really important to zoom in so that you can get an accurate eye. So I'm going to place it around here. Maybe scale this eye a little bit more. Maybe less because this is huge. So let me scale this down again. And I can always just kind of test it out. Now, obviously this is huge, right? So if I go back to the paint tool, you'll see that now she looks like kind of like an alien, but the effect is neat. So let me undo that. But again, click on this projection, place it. And the reality is that our iris only takes about 1/3 of our actual eyeball. So I'm going to go ahead and place it around here. And just go ahead and project. So again, I'm just doing color and just gonna color it in. If you wanted to, you could also use the scale tool here. So for example, if I hit S, I can actually move the projection here as well, and then I can paint it in, but I'm probably better off just texturing here. Now I'm missing some of my veins, so I might wanna zoom in a little bit and just kind of grab some of these interesting veins because this is actually going to be an important detail. And now that we have this, let's go ahead and go back to the paintbrush tool, and this is what we have. Now I know it looks a little weird because her eyes aren't centered, and that's okay. I can always fix that in Maya, but in general, that's how you quickly project eyes. Now this has reflections, so I'm going to go in and do a little painting. I got my new layer. I'm going to create a new, and of course, you probably want to fill it with something, so I'm going to turn off height, all of this. This is just kind of like a fixing part. I'm going to make it black, because I want it pure black, and then add a black mask. And using a brush, let's go to brushes. I want to select a basic soft. Again, using brackets, go ahead and reduce it, and then you can paint some of this away. So I prefer to use the reflections of my environment to create those reflections. So there she is. Okay. So now she's got eyes, so now she's looking a lot more human. Now the cool thing is that we do have some other effects. So if I go to all and I type in skin, you're going to notice that we can get some veins. So for example, I can spray some skin if I wanted to. So you can go in and just kind of spray some skin. Texture if you wanted to. So it just kind of adds a little bit of color to it. We do have veins and things like that. So if you want to, make sure you pick that right color and you just kind of go in and just kind of draw some veins. So again, that just gives it a little bit more of a human look. Cool. Okay. Next, makeup. So we're going back to the head. Click on this. And this is all my skin. So this is my little blue veins. As you can tell, I'm not a medical professional. I just know the basics, like these are blue veins. So my apologies, and that's, I just don't know what their official names are called, but let's go for a new folder. I'm going to call this skin all. And let's grab all the skin here and just drag it into this layer. Double check to make sure nothing weird happened, and there we go. That's all the skin. Cool. Now we're going to make makeup. So makeup is important. So it's really important that you kind of watch tutorials on makeup. I know that sounds a little weird. I'm going to make sure this fill layer is at the top. But, you know, there's a whole thing about makeup. So you might want to kind of take a look at it. So for example, sometimes we use eye shader that has a little bit of metalness to it. So you might want to choose a color. Now she's got blue eyes, so there's a whole thing about what color you should use when you have blue eyes. And I'm going to go for maybe a slight purple, not too much. Again, I'm going to increase the metalness. Now I'm not trying to, and then if I want to just go ahead and increase the roughness too. So again, it's just a little coat. I'm going to right click, black mask, and let's go to our brushes. And I'm going to be using something like, let's see what happens if I use cement and just kind of bring that in. So again, there's a whole thing about makeup that I would highly recommend that you guys watch, because guessing where it, you know, where the highlights are and all that stuff is going to take, you know, it doesn't really work. So you have to kind of watch a bunch of tutorials about makeup. So it's a little odd, I know, but at the same time, it's important to get something accurate. So usually what happens is that we have a base color, and after that, what we want to do is let's give her something simple like eyeliner. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off everything except for this, and it's up to you what color you want. Most people choose for black. If this is like a normal day, I can't believe it's turning into a makeup tutorial. You can actually choose something brown. So if you want to use like a brown eyeliner, you can. If you're trying to go for like a nice, I guess like a date or something, then you can use like black. But I'm going to choose brown just because I feel like this would be a nice kind of like day trip thing. All right, so I'm going to make this really small, and I might actually use a soft brush. We have a tendency to add a little bit of black eyeliner or brown eyeliner. That's what I'm doing right now. And then it's up to you what you want to do with like the makeup. Whoops. You can just kind of leave it at the base, or you can actually go in and kind of give her like a cat eye look, you know, things like that. So it's up to you. There's so much that you can do with this. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of darken this a little bit more. I'm going to flip the X so I can just close this back to gray. I'm going to choose this to just kind of, and then go and kind of bring it in. So now I notice that, whoops, and you'll see that sometimes she'll paint the skull or something like that. So just kind of keep in mind that as well. Okay, so I'm going to try to do as best as I can with my eyeliner here. And then I'm going to kind of give her a little cat eye or something like that. So you get some people like to outline the bottom of the eyelid. Now, if you know anything about makeup, they don't encourage that because you could get it into your eye, which would cause an infection. I mean, it's a whole thing. I'm not going to go into it too much, but, you know, just be careful. But maybe she doesn't care. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give her a little bit of that eyeliner. All right, so I think I'm just going to do one side so you guys can see how beautiful she is without it. Okay, so then the next part, I know this is so silly. Oh, let me get rid of these marks on her skull. So I'm going to, whoops, click on X, make this pretty large, and then just kind of paint this out because we really don't need that. All right, I'm only going to do one eye because it's going to take me a while to do this. So the next thing, again, is getting rid of all this. And you got to do what's called there's a crevice, and you want to kind of highlight that. So she's using kind of like a purple. I'm making her wear purple, but you want to use like something a little, you know, darker. So you can use purple if you want to. You might want to go for a little bit of a gray. There's a whole thing you know, I should, you know, my little sister actually does a lot of makeup. I should just bring her in and then she can tell me what a terrible job I did on this. But basically what we're going to do is just like we did before. I'm going to make this smaller and I'm just going to kind of bring, whoops, that's a little strong there. Let me reduce this to a light gray and just kind of bring that in. So we're trying to enhance that eyelid. So I'm going to use, let's see, stroke opacity. Just going to reduce that a little bit. Sorry, I keep clicking on this. And let's just go into 3D mode here. Just 3D only. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of add that in. So again, I'm just going to scroll down, make sure that, yep, that sounds about right. And I'm going to drag this actually because the eyeliner should be on top and just kind of add this in. So it kind of like highlights that edge. Now that looks awful. So I'm going to right click and I am going to add a filter. And in here, we actually have something called blur. So I'm going to use a blur. And then can increase the blur or decrease it so that it kind of fades away. Which, by the way, that's what we do with real makeup. We actually try to fade that away. All right, how's she looking? She's looking very interesting. And the nice thing is with this, I can change her color. So for example, if I wanted to go maybe a little more pinker or greener, or maybe green looks awful. Maybe I want to go a little bit more neutral and lighter, I can. And then of course I can reduce the metalness so it's not so, and increase the roughness. So that kind of calms the colors down a little bit more. So there's more. I really don't want to make this into a makeup tutorial, but I feel like that kind of adds a little bit more to her eyes, right? Let's go ahead and go to, so this is her eyeliner. This is her shadow. And this is like the base makeup. So I had a student, and then I'm going to do lipstick next. So I had a student that we had to do makeup, and he just guessed the first time around, and it was hilarious. And we were all like, no, that's not going to work. So then he had to go in and watch all of these video tutorials on how to create makeup, and he did it. He did a really good job of the makeup, and we were all very proud and impressed of him. Let me reduce my opacity of this shadow a little bit. Okay, so next I'm going to go and start painting in, whoops, not there, her lipstick. So you want to go in, and I picked a little bit, let's go back up to my stroke here, and can I bring it in? Most people like to use red, so if you want to see it, you can. And go back to this, and we're just going to bring it back. So I'm just going to go ahead and reduce this. And we're going to color her lipstick in. So just be kind of careful. So again, you can do kind of like a base makeup, and then if you're interested, you can just change the colors. If the director says, oh no, I really wanted it to have more pink color, then you can. It wouldn't be hard at all. All right, so I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick. Her sun damage, I guess, is looking kind of, usually you cover that, so I might reduce her sun damage. Let me reduce it a little bit. Okay. Going back, going here. Okay, so over here to the right, we have the selection tool, and we can choose faces based on, or we can choose to change the mask based on texture. So for example, if I click on these guys, you'll notice that it'll start filling in those faces. So if you have pretty good UVs and you feel like you can just kind of follow the makeup, you can. So for example, I might go here, maybe not there, kind of like around here. Maybe I want to go a little closer. Now the texture is going to start to fail, and that's okay, because we're just trying to, we're getting really, really close. But I'm just trying to make sure that I fill in the lip area. So again, I'm just selecting faces. So basically what I'm doing is clicking on here. Let's pretend this is part of it, and then it just fills it in. So I'm going to click on here and then go around here. And then once you're done, just go back to painting. If you feel that there's something off, you can always press X, which will flip the color, and then you can fade these away. All right, there she is. You could kind of give it a little bit less, or if you wanted to, you can bring this thing back and you can give it a little bit of metalness if you wanted to, so she can be a little shinier, you know, so on and so forth. So there's a lot you can do. So this is going to be her lipstick. Some women do like to outline their eyelid, their lipsticks with something a little darker. So for example, I'm going to turn off again everything, and they might pick a darker color. So I might go something like this. We'll see. And then we're going to right click, create black, go in here. And again, this is going to be a very small brush. And sometimes women will actually outline their lips with like a darker color. So it's up to you if that's kind of like the look you want. That looks a little funny, but I'm going to go ahead and create a new filter. I'm going to choose blur and just going to blur it a little bit. Right, so that kind of adds it a little bit more to that. So if you want to, keep drawing. Ooh, I'm kind of not doing a great job. Let me turn off blur. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, let me do a couple things and let me just kind of bring that in. So again, it's up to you if you want to bring that color in. It's not really necessary, but you know, some people do. So it's up to you, again, what type of character she is. So turn that on and you have a little bit of that blend. It's a little different. You can always give her a scar. Whoosh. You know, there's so much you can do. Okay, so we have our blue vein. We have all this information. We have some really cool stuff. I can go in and, you know, give her more eyeliner, which I'm starting to think I should. So let me just kind of make this really fast, and I'll probably will fast forward through this. Oops, let me just make this brush, or I can just talk to you guys. So yes, so my little sister does makeup, and she sat me down, and it's not like I'm a makeup expert, by the way. But maybe I'll bring her in. Maybe I can just be like, tell us how to do makeup. And then I'll just, you know, do an outline. And then she'll just laugh because she finds everything really funny. And she's going to be like, you're not doing it right. And I'm like going to be like, well, learn substance. So we'll see. One day. But I know maybe some of you are going to be thinking, I never need to learn how to do this. And you never know. You really don't know. It's fun and funny. Let me make this part. So another little tip about makeup is that usually you want this line to be thinner, this area here, and then you want to thicken this line here. So that gives it an interesting depth to your eyeliner. Did you guys know you're going to learn so much about makeup? And by the way, I don't know anything about makeup, so this is just... And just like real life, the left side and the right side are going to look a little bit different. Okay, let's see what we got here. Close enough, close enough. Okay, let me grab my eyeshadow here. Gonna grab this mat and let me just kind of quickly add a little coat here. And go ahead and add this here. And I'm gonna grab the gray and maybe kind of fade it out a little bit. Kind of blur it in. Something like that. Okay. Her eyebrows are going to be probably geometry, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so you can change her eye. I mean, this is just an example, but you can see that she's got makeup on, she's got skin, and she's got her eyes. So let's go ahead and export. All right, looks like we are set. The next part is going to be exporting this into Maya. So keep an eye out for the next video tutorial when we export everything and bring it into Maya for a final render. First, before this video is over, don't forget to take a look at academicphoenixplus.com, where you can find free tutorials, free ebooks, free resources, and so much more. So take a look at academicphoenixplus.com and sign up for my newsletter. I would love to hear from you. Also, I would love to connect with you. I am in social media. I'm in Instagram, Twitter, and a bunch of places. So connect with me. I would love to say hello and also see your work. And please subscribe and hit the little button of these. When people subscribe to my channel, it always encourages me to make more. So please take a look, subscribe, and share my videos with anyone you feel this would be helpful. That would also be awesome. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you're learning a lot. Who would have known that this was going to turn into a makeup tutorial? But here we are. And I will see you next time when we export everything and bring it into Maya. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.